This is Between Hooksets. I'm Chasen Walter from In Through the Outdoors with my partner in slime, Curt Underhill from the fishing crew.
What is going on, Slipperies, Wabasha?
Hey, you sent me that thing from the Grumpy Old Men Festival with Cammie Raisler, and she used to be a KSFY here in Sioux Falls, so she used to be on our morning show a few times with Sean Cable and Aaron Doudna, so got to know her a little bit. She's from Castleton, North Dakota, where my grandma and grandpa grew up, so she's a home state girl, you know.
Anyway, it was.
It looked like a lot of fun.
I just thought you'd get a kick out of the Grumpy Old Men Fest in Wabasha.
Oh, I did, you putz.
You putz.
Moron.
Yeah,
no, honestly, I knew that there was a Grumpy Old Men Festival, but I never paid attention. And frankly, I don't think I ever cared, but I've got it on my calendar for February 27, 28, 2026.
Are you going to bust into the cribbage tournament?
No, because I don't know how to play cribbage. I don't get the 15s and the whatever.
15-2, 15-4.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I just, and like playing pinochle when I was a kid, my grandma, grandpa, aunts, and great aunts and uncles used to play pinochle, but my hands are so damn small, I couldn't hold 13 cards. It's just, I get tired. I just, it didn't work for me. It was just, bad news.
I'll stick to racing horses.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, and so that was your game. Your horse racing game is kind of fun. I was going to get into the whole real horse thing, but your horse racing game, I've not watched one. I really haven't been a part of it because I go to bed because you guys don't start that till later. Uncle Lou, how do you do? Thanks for watching there, buddy. The thing is you guys, you eat supper at like 10:30 at night and then you start playing games and I'm already asleep an hour and a half ago, so
hour and a half, 2.5 hours ago.
Yeah. But, nope.
I keep you up late on Wednesday nights just to do the show.
I know. Yeah. Have you ever noticed that? So when we do this show, my eyes always start to itch. I think it must be my makeup or something.
Probably.
Yeah. But I don't need makeup anymore because I figured out how to get rid of my wrinkles. Look at this crap. I look like I'm 35.
Jeez.
Look at that. I figured out how to erase my wrinkles in my profile pictures.
Oh, I thought maybe you just use RBF.
No, look at. I mean, that's a handsome dude right there. We're going back 25 years, easy. Whatever. Yeah, whatever. So anyway, our guest tonight is us. Yeah, and really, honestly, look, we're going to call that by design a little bit. No, we didn't get blown off. We just had a couple of thoughts, and the thoughts just didn't really materialize like we would have liked them to, but we'll push one of the guests off. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know if you want to tell people who it's going to be.
I don't know yet. I mean, we can kind of go into the stories a little bit, but thanks, Uncle Lou, for tuning in weekly and listening to our podcast. So we appreciate that. We'll go. I don't want to let it out yet because, this thing, it's a lot of moving parts to make it happen.
Right. So let's tie it all together and then we'll just shut up about it and move on.
Oh, I hope Pat Karst watched this.
Yeah, I was just going to say, let's make sure we say his name numerous times. Pat Karst. Pat Karst, your daughter is calling. Hold on, you laugh.
Oh, yeah.
What's up with this smoocheroo thing there?
Oh, yeah. Anniversary. Nashville, baby.
Was it the 3rd, right?
Yep. Big 3. We're in for the long haul.
And you guys had a good time in Nashville.
We did. We went down to Nashville all around a quail hunt, which is, going into it, I was talking to one of my buddies. So there's 5 couples that went down. A couple of my buddies had bought it at our Delta Waterfall banquet 2 years ago now. And after they bought it, they said, let's all go. And then Pat's like, let's bring all the ladies. And so we kind of all went down. It was two half-day hunts. And I shouldn't say most of the guys in the group knew the guy who owned the preserve. He used to guide up here with them. Became, I'll say, family, right? I mean, they were so close that they really became family up here. So they bought this hunt so they could go down and see him. And then we took all the wives with. So we went down Thursday, kind of just went out for dinner with Jay and Lynn, the people who own the preserve. Friday we got up, went out to his tuckaway preserve out in, it's like an hour and 40 minutes out of Nashville. Got there, ate lunch, and then it was time to hunt.
Awesome.
You've never quail hunted. The best way I can describe it to you is take a clay pigeon thrower, put it on a spinner, set it so it doesn't throw anything more than 4 foot off the ground, and have 5 clay pigeons come out simultaneously.
So they're all over.
Oh,
right. They're not all just, they're not coming. It's not like a covey of them or whatever. It's just
cubby, but they just come out in every direction.
And they go everywhere.
You know, like Jay said, he goes, when I came up there and guided pheasant hunters, I'm like, how do you miss? They jump up and they fly away, or they jump up and they fly to the side. These things are flying back at you. They're flying under your legs. And it was really a weird thing for me to get used to. Is I don't think a bird all weekend got over 4 foot off the ground.
You're kidding me.
So
fly boom.
I mean, they just don't fly high. They just, they're just daggers that fly out really low.
Do they like a grouse, or do they coast? Do they flop?
I mean, they're this big, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
they're this big, and they like Goose is at Mach 90. Yeah, these things were coming out Mach chicken, and they come out in every direction. And like my buddy Goody had been he went to Georgia like a year or two ago and did this. And he's like, here's what's going to happen. The first couple cubbies, you're just going to mess everything up. Nothing's going to happen right. And then you're going to get into a groove. And as soon as you think you got it all figured out, then you're just going to freaking blank. I mean, everything is just going to go nowhere. So our first cubby Saturday or Friday, we're up in the woods. And I'll say the first cubby, I couldn't shoot because I pulled up and the bird I was on like zipped out, went around a tree, and I had nothing. So I didn't really have a shot. And plus they're low. And I'm like, if I was guiding hunters, I'd be screaming at them not to shoot because they were so low.
Oh, yeah, right. The blue sky, right?
Once I got up high, 4 foot high, they were still too low in my book. So you had to be very conscious. They run a pointing dog, and then he has a flusher, a boykin that flushes them. So the pointing dog just runs around, finds a cubby, locks up on it. He makes it hold. Then we get positioned. You kind of position on them, and then they send the flushing dog in, and they flush out. And, usually it's never, I don't know if I saw one bird come out at a time or if it was the entire cubby that came out every time.
Sorry, you using a 410 or what?
I was shooting a 28 gauge. I think Pat was shooting a 20 gauge. Everybody else was shooting a 28 gauge, and Vetter was shooting a 410. And so we went out. The first cubby gets up. I don't even shoot because I pull up. I have no shot. Second cubby gets up, and one literally damn near takes my hat off, and I go like this trying to shoot the thing. And I'm like, well, great. This is how it's going to be. And then I got in my rhythm. We got done walked a couple other things, doing really good. Got in the side-by-side, drove to the next spot, sat, had a pop, got out, went to do the next walk, and 10 of them got up. Pat's gun jammed. Goody forgot to load shells, and I dumped freaking 3 shells into him because I was shooting a semi-auto. Never got one reloaded, never got 1 and 3 shot. I mean, completely failed. And I'm like, you're right. And then I got back in my groove, and we end up shooting. Our group of 3 shot 58 the first day. And then me and Pat split off on day 2, and we shot 40. And that was a lot more challenging because day 1 was like, they're grass plots, but they're more like our food plots we walk around here. And I mean, they're probably, 8 10 foot wide by 20, maybe 30 foot long, and he's got it mowed around them. So they kind of cubby up in those areas, and you just walk the mowed grass till the dog points, and then you get up in your spots and you go. But
So
when you get up,
you leading them a country mile?
yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Wow.
And we got up on top, which is all woods, which throws a whole nother challenge into it because you get on one and they're behind a tree, and I mean, before you blink, they're behind a tree.
Are they running then when on the ground? Do they do that a lot?
You know, I saw a couple like we walked in. A dog the pointer kind of moved on us and didn't hold, and some ran out of the cubby into the next set of grass. But after you bust the cubby, then you chase the singles.
So will the quail sit in the trees then?
Yeah, a couple times. Yep.
Okay.
So
will they do the highline wire? You know, you every once in a while, sharp tail grouse. When I was a kid, they used to sit on highline wires.
I don't think they can fly that high.
Oh yeah, right. Okay, yeah. When you touch 4 feet and that's it.
I mean,
So
I don't think
that's actually pretty cool.
I'm sure they can, but yeah, it was pretty cool. So we shot just shy of 200 and 2 half-day hunts between 5 guys.
And you're having them sent home, and we're going to have a quail feed.
We're going to have a quail feed. Yep.
Okay. All right.
They're getting sent home, but then we got to go out.
Dorito breaded quail.
You know, so Jay was telling us that you got to cook them with bacon or something like that because they're so thin and they don't have any fat to them.
Oh.
I mean, they're about the size of a Eurasian dove.
Yeah, sure. So you got to cook them low and slow so they don't get tough.
Yeah. So my buddy Ryan said, bring them over. He's going to cook them for me and show them because he's done a lot of quail hunting. So I mean, I'll go back. Like I said, going into it, I'm like, well, it is what, I'm going because it's going to be fun. Didn't have much expectations about the hunt, but after it was all said and done, it was like, yes, we are going back.
Well, we've got quail here, Warren quail, Davy quail. We have a lot of quail. Actually, you know what? I have a quail story. I am not kidding you. I know people are like, you have a story for everything. Do you make crap up or what? No, I don't. So I worked at the elevator in Sinai. I was a feed guy. I went out to make a batch feed and deliver it. And I went out and I brought the truck around to the feed mill and pulled it in to load it. And I'm like, what the heck? There's 2 quail standing by the bin back there. You're like, it can't be. And so I kind of snuck up a little closer. I'm like, it was because there was, had the little bobbly thingies up. And I'm like, that's 2 bobwhite quail. And so I went in to the office and I said, have you guys seen the quail out back? And everybody laughed at me like I was nuts. And I'm like, Uncle Lou, a little flour and brown them. Okay. Oh, now that would be good. A little barbecue sauce. So what I should have done then was I should have got the 22 out of the shed that we used to shoot the wild cats to come in and tear the dog food bags or dog feed bags open. So I went in and I said, you guys, the quail back there, and they laughed at me like I was a fool. I mean, just a fool. But people do that to me sometimes. And I'm like, no, I'm not kidding you. There are quail don't live here, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, I'm telling you, there's 2 quail back there. And they laughed. I'm like, well, screw you then. I think I flipped them all off and said, that's it, I'm out of here. So I got in the feed truck and I took off. And I get out about 1.5 miles out of Sinai, and I'm tooling in that diesel Ford, cruising along, got that thing to the floor, 2,800 RPM, just, and I look over and I'm like, no way. I called back the office. I said, okay, you guys don't believe there's bobwhite quail in the back by the shed back there by the feed shed? I am not kidding you. There is a camel out in Jake Post pasture. and they're like, yeah, so? And I'm like, what the hell? Jake had brought the thing in like a day ago. So there was actually a camel out in post pasture in Sinai, South Dakota. And there were 2 bobwhite quail, and nobody would ever believe the quail story. And I think that was 99, I think. So we didn't have you had your little flip phone.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have taken a picture that far away, so I wouldn't have been able to get to it. But to go from truly seeing quail to truly seeing a camel all in one day, I'm like, to me, it's one of those you got to see it things, but it was truly one of the coolest days ever because those are two things you don't expect to see.
Not in South Dakota.
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of guys trying to bring them up here. They just don't last in the cold. You know, they just can't. I mean, and how they were cubbied up and stuff. I mean, they were buried in these little brush piles, and I mean, they're just tiny, so they just get into so they would just get covered in snow and die. But yeah, we're like, we need to figure out how to do some quail hunting in South Dakota.
That would be fun, but yeah, I think we're lucky that pheasants survive winters here. Right?
I mean, we have the habitat. I mean, like I was talking to my buddy Ryan. He's like, if we didn't get as cold, quails would last here because we have the habitat for them.
Well, now, I mean, winter seems to be, is this the way winter's going to be? Because last year and this year, we're not done fishing on the ice yet. It's not happening. Tanner Thompson mowed there. Howdy.
Can't wait for the new studio.
Yeah, no kidding. That is going to be fun to see that whole thing and get that thing rolling.
Yeah,
we're going to be major league. We're going to be prime time, you know. But everybody's going to watch a fishing tournament.
Yeah. So, great time down there. Met some really cool people. One of the folks we met down there, very unique recording artist. Not what you would think you would find in Nashville, but he is from Buffalo, Wyoming, and he was supposed to he was going to do the show tonight, but he has in the studio recording tonight. So we got him in a few weeks. We'll let that out when we get closer. We figure we're just going to have a party the night before we go to the Classic on the 19th. So hopefully we can make it all come together and we can,
I think it'll be fun. I think it's going to be fun. I'm going to practice my singing. See if we can't get him going and do the deal.
Hey, get a hold of us.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, Keith, be careful what you wish for there, pal.
Get a hold of us. That's been something we've talked about. Dude. Reach out to me on the Fishing Crew social media page. We can be in touch.
Yeah, those guys at Pro King. What do you call it, Keith? Now you Pro King something. Sorry, Pro King Media. Or I'm so bad. But I took my glasses off last night, and I could not find them because I couldn't remember where I put them because I put them in a place I never put them. And when you put something where you never put things, you never remember where you put them because that's where you put them, and then you don't know where you put them.
Hey, and I helped you
got to try to find where you put them.
I helped you find them, right? What did I tell you?
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
they were in the last place you put them.
There they are. Yeah. Like, hey, okay, so I want to pop this up real quick because this is one of my favorites. This popped up in Target Walleye tonight. And Russ, you shot quail in South Dakota. I hope you didn't get Warren or Davey for Pete's sake. Pro King Ventures, there we go. Thank you. Thank you very much, Keith. So Keith is the one that got the video of the derecho. And Louie, how you doing? Good to have Louie on the other end of the line too. But so the derecho hit. I went into the radio station and I moved my pickup around the back. I came around the front and went, oh, Schmidt. Crap's going to hit the fan. This is going to be ugly. And by the time I got to the front door with the other guy, the wind whipped the door open. It sucked insulation out of all of the cans, the lights in the ceiling.
Totally.
I got upstairs. I whipped on the microphone and I said, blah, blah, blah. This is going to get bad. You need to take shelter immediately. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you say. Don't be a looky-loo. You need to take shelter immediately. Boom. Power goes out. And Keith was recording that, and it's actually on the History Channel. So if you want to watch that derecho stuff there, it's pretty cool. But the last thing he said, shit. I'm like, take shelter immediate. Boom. And he let the bird fly there. And so it was, boy, I tell you what, that was a spooky day. We had a tornado here yesterday, 2 days ago.
Yeah.
It was kind of an air funnel type of thing. It wasn't truly a tornado, but whatever it was hit the ground and there was debris flying, so they called it a tornado. So
we went from negative temperatures to a tornado in 4 days.
Yeah, right. Isn't that just ridiculous? Eye of the Storm, episode 2. There we go, on the History Channel. Thank you there, Keith. So I'm going to pop this up because it's one of my favorite things because I'm a walleye nut. I love I love all this goofy technology, and I love watching tagged walleye swim. And Brett and Chris shared this on Target Walleye again. I think just this afternoon they released it, and I love this. Watch this. All right, I guess I have to go. I got to go in and start it, don't I? So here we go. It's only 30 seconds long, so. It's amazing.
Wow.
So, the crazy thing is, those walleye are willy-nilly making their way through the basin, right? But look at the areas that they congregate and the areas they follow. And I believe this. I think it's a spring to fall situation. Anyway, you can find it on Target Walleye is where I would tell you to go look for it on the latest episode or the latest newsletter from Target Walleye, or just find WB 2016 short on YouTube and watch it. I slow it way down. I don't know what I'm learning from it, but it's a blast every time, and they bring it out every couple of years, and it's fun to watch.
We were talking to the biologists during the fisheries meeting on Lake Oahe and Lake Sharp, and they were talking about the walleyes. They did a GPS study on walleyes on Lake Sharp, and somebody goes, "Well, where are they?" And they said, "I can tell you they're where nobody's fishing.
They're moving. They're finding new habitat." Yeah. Exactly. I think that's the word on Francis Case too. After the conversation about the abundance of walleye and Francis Case, and I think you and I, maybe Louis and a handful of other people would say bull crap. There is not an abundance of walleye on Francis Case, because I will say they the guides, whoever, fished Francis Case out. And when I say that, because I got laughed at for bringing that up this weekend, I said, well, we've fished out a local lake here, and they're laughing at me because when I say fished out, I'm not talking about they fished out every walleye, right?
Yeah.
If the lake's got, take for instance, here's the numbers on Lake Erie. Their latest survey says they have 72 million walleye in Lake Erie. Last year, 513,042 walleye were caught, and 318,000 were harvested. Okay, so there's no way Erie is fished out. But you take a lake, let's say Lake Ponset. If at one point there were 10,000 walleye in that lake, okay, if there are 1,500 walleye left in that lake, in my mind, it's fished out, because you're only going to have a few select people that are going to be able to fish it every day and go find fish. Your regular average weekend fisherman is not going to go sit down and catch their limit on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and go home.
Yeah.
So, when I truly believe, after hearing a lot of people talk and tournament anglers that talk about Francis Case can't catch a doggone thing there. Well,
and I can tell you, we
moved off of Francis Case and went up to Sharp to fish.
I can tell you, when we were watching over the years, the weights from Cedar Shore have just went like this every year. And I mean, you're talking just getting harder to catch fish. And when I talked to Finsel, and I haven't had a chance to watch that because that was on last Wednesday, and then I was gone, and haven't had a chance to watch the meeting. Obviously, you must have. Did you watch you watched some of the meeting? But they said, they said the Game Fish and Parks scratched their head because what they're seeing in their nets is not directly reflecting what they're seeing or hearing from anglers, which is not normally the case.
Yeah, I struggle. I'm not the greatest fisherman in the world, and I, but I'm still struggling because we used to go out and catch fish all the time. You go out on a weekend, you'd go out in the middle of the week and get in the boat and go fish, and you'd come home with fish. And now you go out and you fish and you fish and you fish and you fish. But we have more fishermen, more anglers than we've ever had, right? And we have more people catching fish and taking fish than we've ever had. Because I don't think before snow bears and guides and Facebook and social media, people were taking pictures of 60 crappie or Nate. Oh, there you go. A link to the vid there. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, I don't think, things are just different, right? And so I think the fish are, and Louis is the one that told me, we were talking about, he said, well, maybe the fish aren't in the same spots they used to be. Your fishing memories 10 years ago, the marks I have that I go back to fish are 10 years old, 15 years old, or even older, So it's tougher. It's different. It's way different out there on some of these lakes. Oahe is different too. Think about how easy it's been, and that's due to the water level. The water level went low. We had all that forage, all those weeds and all the brush and everything that grew up along the shore. Now all of a sudden it's submerged and it's holding bait, and it's keeping the fish shallow, and it's keeping them catchable. So
you spurred a comment here. So
yeah. Okay, so the guides are destroying the fishing, and Chasen is absolutely correct. Guides couldn't catch them on Francis' case, so they moved to sharp. Yeah, right. Yeah, Corey. Yeah, exactly.
Corey, but I'm going to say it's not just guides. You can't just put this whole thing on guides. More people have fished ever than since 2020 than ever have in the past. They're not all using guides. You go to the boat ramps, and starting now, I was getting Snapchats from a buddy fishing Francis case today from Iowa. You go to those boat ramps this time of year, as soon as it opens up, and you can't find a parking spot.
No.
So it's not just guides. It's a human problem. We've said it 100 times on this show. Problem. It's a people problem. We got to have our limits, right? We can't be fine with catching 3 fish.
Yeah, and I think we should be. Why would you fish for? I get it. I'll fish for another 2 hours because I want to. But I'm not fishing another 2 hours because I want my 4th fish,
We got another question here.
Okay. How much of that is due to focusing on electronics rather than focusing on your fishing knowledge? Jeff, yeah, you're absolutely right. I focus, and Kurt's smiling, I focus on my electronics. You bet I do. I focus because honestly, I'm better at looking at my electronics than I am catching fish, right? But that's so true. Chad, agree with you. Local lakes get hit hard year round. Chad, you probably know the lake I'm talking about that I say got fished out. River system completely different. Oh, no doubt. We're talking probably hundreds of thousands of fish. If Erie's holding 72 million walleye, then Oahe's got to have. Gosh, I wish they'd tell us. Are there 100,000 walleye in there?
That number.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Who knows? You look at how they police. And I shouldn't use the word police, but look at the regs and look at the way they control Mille Lacs. And now it sounds like they're going to loosen the strings because you couldn't keep a fish on Mille Lacs last year. Now this year
went to 1
or 3. Yeah,
right. It was like 1, then it was none, and then it was 1 again. And you got to be up on your regs every time you go to Mille Lacs because it's something different every time.
And that's tough. But then again, it's a fishery, and frankly, right now is a great time to be there. Look at Hunter Nitty and those guys with that big perch party they had. And I'm not talking big perch party. They were catching big perch at their party. It was a big party too, but and that's cool. That's fantastic. But the one thing that really has come to mind, especially over the last couple of weekends fishing a small local lake, why are we not throwing or releasing our breeding females back? Why are we taking an 18-inch female home and flaying it up? Put the damn thing back in the water. It's a breeding female. It's laying eggs. It's important to the health of the system, I believe. If we had Nick Harrington or somebody else on, and I think we're going to have somebody from the GF&P on, we're going to get to the nitty gritty of, do we need to harvest these lakes? Do we need to have some deprivation on some of these lakes. I just don't know. I'm not that smart, but I want to see these lakes survive. And I caught a 21-inch female, and I was so excited, and I put her right back. And I'm sure that half a day later, somebody else caught her and took her home and filleted her. I'm like, no, those females. So I don't understand why we don't have that type of a rule on a lake. And maybe it's a dumb thought because people can't discern the difference between a male or a female walleye. I think it's relatively easy, but some people are like, oh, I wouldn't know how to tell the difference. So I just like we save hens, we protect our hens, right? You take the roosters. I realize the males are skinnier, they don't have as big of fillets, blah blah blah. But I don't know. I'm concerned for the fish population in a lot of our eastern South Dakota lakes. I don't know if I'm concerned about Oahe, Wackerly, the Bills out there and their entire group. I think they're doing a great job making sure that walleyes don't diminish and that it holds the population. And there's a lot being said now about all of these big walleye out on Oahe. It's been fantastic, but now there's word of that 18-pound thing is not going to be. It's going to take a while for that to get beat. So Keith Pazura is going to hang on to that record for a while, maybe.
And let me clarify that statement. So I was talking to Mark Fensel, and he said we got a couple years left. He, in his opinion, being the biologist on the system, that we have a couple years left before, and then these big walleyes, we're just not going to see these giant walleyes. We're going to have big walleyes. We're just not going to see the giant walleyes, and it's because our lake herring or our Ciscos, they've not seen a year class of them in 3 years. And it's because the smelt are so devastating on the lake herring. And after 2011, they told us this, that the lake herring blew up. Everybody thought they put them in there. Well, they didn't. Lake herring actually, no, they were there the whole time.
They existed in there.
Yeah.
They just didn't have the opportunity to flourish until the smelt population got sucked out the dam.
So if you look at any fishery system, if they have lake herring, they don't have rainbow smelt or smelt. So lake herring actually lay their eggs under the ice. Well, when it's time for the smelt to go up and breed and lay their eggs and do their thing, the lake herring fry are actually, hatched and coming. So the smelt just devastate the lake herring. They eat all the fry. They just don't reproduce. We're not going to get rid of the years. We've had 10, 15 years of great smelt until 2011. So they're still going to be there. We're just not going to see year classes of them. And they said the walleyes can get big on, the gizzard shad that they're putting in the system.
Yeah,
they can get big on the smelt, but they don't get as big without those lake herring. So that's why I said a couple more years of the big ones, and then we'll see, the 10 to 14 pounders.
So the herring have to, because I think gizzard shad are a greasy, an oily fish, but the herring must have just a ton of protein.
Yeah.
In them that creates that big, huge walleye.
So after 2011, everybody thought they put lake herring or Cisco's, same thing, but they thought they put them in the system and they didn't. They just flourished because there were no smelt to eat them. And that's why they like the gizzard shad, because the smelt and gizzard shad play nice together.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So that's the big thing. If you look at all the different, studies on this, and he just said, unless something happens, which knock on wood, we do not want that to happen again. But I've talked to people that are, been spearing before the ice. Our ice churned quick. Absolutely insane. Last Tuesday, I was talking to guys spearing, and by Sunday, they were pulling their shacks.
Well, and they're also, the water level's coming up as well. Yeah. So I think that's why we're seeing shore, because that ice is floating up,
Yeah, 4 or 5 foot.
The,
The heaves are all opening up. I mean, it's black on the southern end of Lake Oahe. I drive past the dam every day, so I overlook at that. I mean, Friday we're supposed to have big wind. When that happens, we get any open spots, it's going to open up that. It's going to tear that ice up. So, my good buddy Willie Glow always used to say, when the ice turns black, it's 3 weeks.
Yeah, right.
Well, a couple years ago, we chewed through 30 inches of ice in 2 days with wind.
Yeah, it goes fast. Wait, here's the other thing. We got a time change on Sunday. Next Sunday. Not this Sunday, next Sunday, the 9th. So sun's going to be higher in the sky. We're going to have a longer period of daylight. And that sun is going to beat down on that ice. There is no snow there anymore. I went out and retrieved a rod holder that I left out there. I saw it in my binoculars, so I walked all the way out there. There was some doofus drove out there. I'm sorry, I don't mean that. No, that's a term of endearment. But it has that dark honeycomb kind of look to it. I was nervous walking out there, and hell, I was on it 3 days ago. I drove my pickup on it. It was 18 inches thick.
Yeah,
but we fished in a couple of spots that had holes in them, and there were a bunch of little holes all the way through the ice that I could have just dropped golf balls from. Like, ooh, man, I'll tell you what.
She's going to go fast.
Yeah, and this lake that I was on had water all over it. Hi, Zach. It had water all over it, and that water is gone, and it's all solid ice, but it looks goofy. So yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do this weekend. I really don't, because I want to fish. So am I going to go to Okoboji and see if I can't wrangle Dan and Kyle into telling me where the big gills are, or where the walleye are hiding, or what? I don't know. It's going to be worse down there, though. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't feel like going north either. But here's something that I find interesting that I've learned from my Garmin since Jeff brought up electronics. I'm looking at 39-degree water under the ice. Okay. So if they say walleye begin to spawn in 42-degree water, and I drop my thermometer down and it's 41 degrees on the bottom of the lake, then it isn't going to take long, and our walleye are going to be spawning. The ice doesn't have to, because we're all like, well, when the ice comes off, we'll go catch those pre-spawn fatties. And it's not happening, because the last, I don't know how many years, those walleye have been spawning under the ice. I'm positive. You and I talked about it. You said, well, who knows about the temperature of the water, because I think they just spawn when they are ready, which makes sense. I agree with that.
I mean, you've heard water temp, you've heard duration of light. I mean, there's 100,000 theories out here, and hopefully we get Mark Finsel on with Game Fish and Parks, and we can ask him these questions. I mean, these guys study these fish, but like I told you earlier, they study them in the hatchery. Now they study them in the river system, but they can tell you it's this water temp or this duration of light, or whatever it is. But I think they're females, and they go when they're ready.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm not laughing because you said they're females, they'll go when they're ready. But that's it. They're just, when they're ready, they're ready. Because you can catch one in June that hasn't dropped its eggs, and they're reabsorbing, right? Because whatever, for some reason, for that particular female, she didn't release her eggs. Who knows what it was? Who knows if water temps got colder? But I'm learning a lot about water temperature under the ice. It's really, really, really interesting. And it's going to get to the point where I'm going to start unraveling my entire cable on my Garmin. I don't know how long that cable is, but I'm going to start, instead of using my little Vexlar mercury thermometer with the little red that you got to, knock down, I'm going to just drop that Garmin down 10, 11 feet and see what the temperature is right down there on the bottom, because I'll know instantly, right?
Yeah.
Heck, when we were fishing on Sunday, I was starting to get flooded out. I picked a high spot to put my portable ice house, because I was not going back out there with my Permy. So I put that on a little bit of a hump. Well, the water kept coming up, and I drilled 2 holes to relieve that, which it did, but it rushed down those 2 holes so damn fast. I'm like, oh my. am I going to put myself in peril here? Is this ice going to melt and I'm going to break through? I was on 18 inches of ice. I don't think it was going to happen, but that 35-degree water became 37.5-degree water in a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
So that would be the next thing for if you've got a lake that had a ton of water on it, on the ice, and now it's gone. That water has that warm water has made its way through the ice, and it's down there, and now the water's even warmer below the ice. So
when you got to remember snow runoff on shores, which
we have
none, but
right.
That warms it up, and you get the greenhouse effect with no snow on the ice.
Yep, right.
So
right,
100 factors play into all that stuff.
I'm gonna. Oh, I thought maybe I was gonna block myself. I don't want to forget about this.
Get your
things
pick.
Are changing. If you're not paying attention, Scott Martin's out now, and he was 58 to 60% picked. And I'm like, I'm not touching him with a 10-foot pole anyway.
Yeah, we got mostly walleye fishermen people on here, but the Bassmaster Series is heating up. I mean, they DQ'd a guy last week for absorbing information that he wasn't supposed to.
Yep.
He failed the lie detector, and he got kicked out, and he is now done fishing Bassmasters. He's going to fish on PFL only.
Oh, okay. So he is done with the Bassmaster Elite now.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm drawing a blank on his name right now.
Oh, Matt Herron.
Matt Herron. Yep. He put an announcement out.
That's not the one I wanted to share. Hold on. I'm going to go. I got to go redo that because that's not the one I wanted to share. I was just going to.
He completely done. And then Scott Martin self-reported today that he accidentally received information, let a conversation go too long, and accidentally received information, and now is self-reported, and he is out of the event.
Yeah. And does that really? It's going to change a lot of things for a lot of people, but
hold up right there. Who's in fifth?
Oh, who's in fifth? Oh, that's you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck. You guys, Friesman, I think he's legit, but the rest of you goofballs, you picked the wrong guys, and the lake completely, the lake completely fished the way it was supposed to. Day 2, I was in second place, and I'm like, I got this thing, I'm good. And then day 3 came, and I don't know what fell apart. But what happened is the typical way of fishing St. John's absolutely went to the wayside, and it's the old traditional fishing that took over. And boom,
I took the Vexus boy John Cox, and he got her done. He's an old bank beater, John Cox.
Yeah, and he's using aluminum, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got the Vexus aluminum this year.
Yeah, right.
I don't even think he has a live scope anywhere.
No,
I think he just is a bank beating. That's how he does it. And
well,
picks are due for what? Oh, where are they at?
Due tonight. I mean, you got unless you're going to get up at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, you got to have them done by 6 a.m. I think so.
They're on what lake?
You get those in.
Where are they going this week? Lake
Okeechobee. Yeah,
I was going to say I knew what it was, but I didn't want to say it wrong, and then you go and say it wrong.
Well, it's because I just said Okoboji earlier. At Okeechobee. You here now? Try that, everybody. Everybody watch. There's 30 people watching right now. You just turn to the side and say Okoboji, Okeechobee, and you do that back and forth. Okoboji, Okeechobee, Okoboji, Okeechobee. You just try it. Not that doggone easy, Oofed up. Morons.
Schmuck.
I want to see grumpy old men so bad. Oh my!
I've watched it a couple times in the last couple weeks. It's been on the old TV, and every time it's on, I can't flip past it. So I got to watch me some grumpy old men.
Speaking of grumpy old men, what was his name again? Pat Karst, Karst. Yeah, right. Yeah, Pat, you deserve that. I think you picked on me the last time I saw you. So, I mean, look at. Here's what I have got to go see if I can find my King Ropes hat, because people are wearing the King Ropes hats again.
Oh yeah,
and I've got a couple of them somewhere around here. I got to pull them back out again and get them out hanging out and put one on. Maybe I'll have to have one for the Bassmaster Classic down there.
Oh yeah, in Fort Worth. So
Yeah,
we'll be down there in Fort Worth, Texas at the Classic, and that's going to be a great time. I recommend anybody who likes to fish go to the Classic. It is well worth the trip.
Are you going to wear cowboy boots? And I'm wearing my big buckle.
Your big buckle?
I might bring along. I'm going to bring my. I don't know if I'm going to bring because it might be too early. It's March. I'm trying to remember when it is. It's Labor Day. I think that you could wear the white straw or the straw hat, right?
Good question.
And I'll probably just wear my black felt. Everybody thinks I look goofy in a cowboy hat anyway, but who cares? It's a past life.
Chad's got a question here.
Okay. Can you explain how that works? The bass picks. Sorry if you did at some point and may have missed it. Okay. So Chad, you're talking about how we're actually doing the Bassmaster Fantasy Picks. You have bucket A, B, C, D, and E. Are you bringing up the deal there or not? I don't think I'm logged in. Let me see if I can do it, but I don't think I'm logged in.
All right, while you're working on that, another question. Scott, Pike Masters is April 5th. Emails will be going out shortly. Chad is asking about the pick. So you have you have A, B, C, D, and E. You had to pick one angler from each bucket.
Yep. Okay.
They're not your anglers for the entire week or entire year.
Yeah,
you're for that event.
I'm gonna show you how this is the worst.
Oh, perfect. I'm gonna watch and see who his picks are so I can go tinker.
So these are not gonna be my picks because I'm sure I'll change them yet because I'm gonna get done. I'm gonna do more research, but that's all right. So the thing is we like to see that arrow in the dark green over there. This is the worst year I've ever had, the worst start I've ever had, which whatever, I don't care. I made my picks and I got to live with it. So then you move on. So, all right. So here, can you see this? Because I'm not back on.
Yep.
Yeah,
you're where you're at.
I gotta be over here to run it. So here's the thing. You pick an angler from each bucket. Now, the other thing that you want to do, you want to look at the percent owned because it's extremely important, because this is going to give you an idea of who there's what, I don't know, 20,000, 30,000 people playing this game. And there's a lot of smart people who will score 12 to 1,300 points a week. And you're going to wonder how the hell to do it. But you want to get at least 1,050 to 1,100 a week. That's your goal, right? So now what they call chalk would be the top one, right? The top in every category. So if you want to go chalk, you would pick John Cox, Tucker Smith, Drew Benton, Kyle Welcher, and Greg Hackney. But now the other thing that you have to keep in mind is that a large percentage of these people have picked chalk as well. So you're going to score what you score with probably thousands of other people, right? So now you want to go down and go, okay, Corey Johnston had a horrible start on St. John, but he kicked it in high gear the last couple of days and ended up finishing 6th after, I think, 71st or 76th on day one, right? So hopefully I'm not boring you, right, Chad? So this is the next thing you want to do then is you want to go, okay, Brock Mosley did pretty good. He's only 1.7% owned. So maybe I should take a chance on Brock Mosley. And now all of a sudden you stand out among the median, the average players in each bucket. And you'll see that's what I've done here in B. I'm going Will Davis Jr. I will not change that. I've wanted to go Tucker Smith because he gave Scott Martin a run for his money, but I'm going Will Davis Jr., and that's my thing. Bucket C is because Scott Martin was here. Things have changed a little bit. So I'm not quite sure if I'm going to stick with Hamner or where I'm going.
Are you going back to the motto? If I've talked to him, I'm picking.
No. But you know what? That works pretty damn good though. I'm not kidding you. It really does. So right now I'm Hamner because he was 2.7, but after Martin dropped out, things changed a little bit there. Other than that, I had Drew Benton before Scott Martin dropped out because I'm gonna go a little chalky in bucket C, and then you go to bucket D. I'm going Milliken because I've heard Milliken is using perspective mode and he's finding fish. And this is kind of his game. So I'm sticking my neck out, and I'll tell you why afterwards. I went with Easton Fothergill last week, and it blew up in my face. But Easton's not going to blow it up twice, so I'm going there. A lot of guys are going Hackney and Kennedy, and boom. And then you've got your pounds. You want to decide how many pounds for the tiebreaker. So I think a lot of guys are going somewhere in the 90s. There are going to be a few that are going to break that 100, 101 pounds. Some are going to go 80.
It's going to go that big?
Pardon?
Do you think it's going to go that big? I look back at the last couple events and 90. The Opens went 90 last year, but the Elites 2 years ago only went in the 80s. Yeah,
there are a lot of guys that are in the 90s. I set my lineup. I can get rid of this, right? I don't need to keep it there anymore. So I set my lineup at minutes after St. John's was done that night. Before I went to bed, I sat down and I set my 5 buckets and I put my weight. And the weight that I put in, I think I had 83.9 pounds. And then as I hear people talking and as I do my research, they're talking about heavier bags. And there's a lot that are thinking it's going to be in the 90s somewhere. And there are quite a few guys that are pundits that are picking in the upper 95, 96, 97 pounds. So I don't know, I'm not perfect at this thing. It's just a ton of fun. And then when you start meeting these guys, you go down to the Classic and you get to talk to them, and you make a relationship with them, and they get to know you. One guy that Pat Schlapper from Wisconsin, he's been a ton of fun. I got to fish with him on Table Rock, and I just started doing the Bassmaster Fantasy stuff in 2021. So I've only done it for 4 years, but like, oh my God! So here's the deal. I'm out fishing with Pat Schlapper, right? And so I've got my big thing up, and I open up my bail, and I stick my hand in the bail, and I get it closed, and I can't get my hand. He's like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "Pat, I'm so damn nervous fishing with you. I can't get my hand out of the bail." He goes, "Oh, for Pete's sake, I'm just a guy." So we were just having a ton of fun. And then to get to know him, and then I talked to him at the Classic last year, and I'm sure we'll chat this year again too. But it's so much fun getting in and following this stuff. It's even more fun than fantasy football, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I enjoy it so much more.
I'll stop
fantasy
talking.
Football, you got to worry about who's hurt, and
right.
You got got a waiver wire, and you got all this crap, and I can't keep up with it. Then you're cheering against people that you're cheering against your football team because you got this guy and another team. Yeah. I just want to let you know I'm not going to share mine, but mine's in the dark green.
Of course you are. Of course. Yeah, you scored like, well, I don't know. I guess I got to go back to it. What was you
1,049.
Yeah, so you had about the right amount of points that you're looking for. Friesman, here's the deal. If you want to be top dog, you score 1,200 points every week and you will be top dog. But I'm going to tell you right now that scoring 900 points a week is not going to get it there. You're going to have 1,050. You're going to have 1,100 to get it done, because Friesman's going to slip up. He's going to have an 800 and something week. DeVille, Corey's he's going to slip up and he's going to have a 700, 800 week. We all are. I mean, it could all happen, right? Kurt's going to do that this week already, unless he figured it out, but I could
Well,
have a
I
7.
just looked. The guy who's ranked number 1 overall scored 2275.
Yeah, see?
He literally had
Everything right.
first, a 61st, a 43rd, a 6th, an 8th, a 15th, a 5th, and a 33rd.
Yeah. So it's a fun game. It really is. And it's just, I don't know. I did it. I did it for a couple of years, and then Curt, you decided to do it last year. Yeah, right. It is a marathon, not a sprint. Yeah, Scott, you're absolutely right. Yeah, Chad. Yeah, you gotta jump in and have some fun with it. It's truly it's just, I don't know. It's fun to research the stuff. It really is, and then I guess, and maybe we're a little bit different because we're trying to do. This year I'm hoping that the broadcasts that we do for the fishing crew tournaments are a little bit more like the Bassmaster tournaments. We're not gonna quite be at that level yet, but we're working on that, right?
We're getting there.
Probably going to be another year or two to get to the point where you actually tune in and watch a fishing crew tournament and go, is this a Bassmasters or is this some walleye tournament out of South Dakota? No, it's a walleye tournament out of South Dakota. Yeah, it's not going to be as flashy as the Bassmaster, but we'll get there. We're going to make it work.
Unless somebody wants to come and write a big check for a production budget.
Well, now that would be the other thing. We're not going to have the production budget, but with things like we're using tonight, we can make it work.
Yeah.
So I see we lost like half of our viewers because we got into the fantasy fishing thing, which is great. That's fine. I don't care because we've gone an hour and I didn't think we'd go 30 minutes tonight.
Yeah.
So,
well, we can both steal all the oxygen out of a room. So
yeah, I know. What did I just talk for the last 14 minutes nonstop now? I know I can do that, but what the heck? It's a podcast. If people are tuning in to listen to people talk, right? They didn't tune in to look at us. Dan McGuire, speaking of looking, is going to join us next Wednesday night, March 5th already at 7 p.m. So looking forward to that. He'll be at the Northwest Outdoor Show in Minneapolis. And we're going to get him on the show before he ends up there. He is going to be a presenter. He's going to be a guest speaker, along with Jason Mitchell. And then Jason Mitchell's going to come back, and he's going to do Sioux Falls, too, that same weekend, because both shows are the same weekend. So that's pretty cool. That guy puts on some miles, man. He puts on a lot of miles.
He does.
So, yeah, I'm going to send him a text and say, hey, are you buying supper Saturday night? he's gonna send me the bird, and then you're like, what I'm not eating with you, no way.
Yeah, well, people have been asking. Still plenty of spots to get into Cedar Shore. Gov Cup is full. Sharp Showdown, there's plenty of spots to get in there. Both are filling up very nicely. And I mean, we're going to be talking team draw. We're going to be talking all kinds of stuff. I'm getting a clicker, so when Brian or Chasen takes me down a rabbit hole of craziness during our draw we're doing, like, oh, yeah, we can stay on track. But, yeah, we got a lot of things coming up, and I know we're filling blank time right now. It's that time of year where there's really – I mean, the ice fishing's kind of coming to an end. Hunting season's over. Summer fishing hasn't started, but it's going to be full bore here about a month.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's been fun tonight. We had a lot of people watching. We had a lot of people commenting. So to just to come on and BS our way through an hour, it worked. I'm glad y'all were there watching and commenting and playing along and join the Bassmaster Fantasy group. It'd be a good time. You're going to be behind because you don't have that first one, but who knows? You score 1,200 points every week and you'll make up the difference in a quick hurry. So
yeah,
love to have you join us.
All right, buddy. Well, good seeing you.
Yep. All right. Sayonara, putts.